Travel nurses, what's up? It's Mike with Travel Nursing Classroom, retired recruiter, bringing you all the secrets, tips, tricks, everything else you need to know about the travel nursing world. And believe it or not, we get asked all the time, or I get asked all the time at Travel Nursing Classroom, questions about the timeline. I thought this would be an easy one to know, but there's, I guess, a little bit of confusion out there as to how quickly you can get started as a travel nurse. Some nurses think it's a super long process that's going to take 3, 4, 5 months to get started, which could potentially be the case depending on where you're getting licensed. But other nurses thinks it's super easy and, they need a job today. They're ready to work tomorrow. So I just wanted to clear the air a little bit. I wanted to pull up this super fancy slide here quick and just talk about some of the timelines to be expected for this. So here again, this timeline is just kind of generalities. Everyone's going to be in a different situation. But first of all, when you decide to become a travel nurse, you want to look into the state itself, and the general requirements. Every state is going to have different requirements to become licensed in that state. There's going to be different costs that range from $50 to several $100. And more importantly, it's the time frame. We've got what's called walkthrough states, where a state like Arizona, you can get licensed in the same day or a day or two. There's several walkthrough states out there. You've got other states like California and a handful of others that are going to take several months. So this is step one. If you're not licensed in a state or a compact state, that's another thing to check on, but you need to make sure you've got enough time and you plan accordingly to make sure you've got your license before you even apply for the job. A lot of times you can't even get a job without that state license. So that is step one. That could take 1 to 2 days just for that research, and then depending on the license, could take several more weeks. Next thing you want to do is, depending off of what you found out about the states and where you want to go and all that fun stuff, is select a time to start. You want to have a specific start date. Typically, these hospitals like Monday start dates for an orientation. And then from there, you want to make sure you plan backwards and make sure your paperwork's completed and all that fun stuff. Here again, choosing a company or recruiter, that's a huge decision. That's not a knee-jerk reaction that you should just do a 5-10 minute Google search of. You really want to do your research on this. Your recruiter and your company are your lifeblood, and they're the one that are going to be paying you, and every company is different. Every company has different pay packages. Every company has different benefits. Some offer insurance. Some have a focus on pets. Some have a focus on families. So you really want to find out what company suits you best based on your requirements and your needs. So another consideration there, that's going to take at least a couple days. The paperwork side of things, every single company that you sign up with, you're going to have to fill out some sort of paperwork. Pretty much every time you're going to have to fill out a application. You're going to have to send them your resume. You're going to have to fill out skills checklists based on your specialties, and you're going to have to come up with references. So there's 4 or 5 things right there that you're going to have to do every time with every single company that you sign up with. And before you can start looking for jobs, you've got to get that paperwork filled out. So, that's going to take probably a couple days there, just depending on what companies and how many companies you sign up for. Then once you do all that, you got to find out, you start your job search essentially. And the recruiter is going to do the heavy lifting here, hopefully. But this process is not quick and really depends on how open you are. If you are just only looking in a 3-hour radius of a certain city, you might not be considered a traveler. The more open you are, the quicker and more options that you're going to have when looking for a job. So just to FYI there, the interview process there, again, you've got to wait for the hospital to give you a call. So you've got to wait for the hospital manager to find time to give you a call to chat. There again, you can wait up to a couple days. Sometimes it happens same day, but very rarely. You're going to most likely wait a day or two. If you've waited for more than a week, especially 2 weeks, and you haven't heard anything from a hospital, please move on. I've seen too many times nurses just hang out and really, really want this job, but the phone call never comes. So if you do need to get to a certain area, just make sure you do have plenty of options and you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. 3 to 5 days, if you see this other bullet point here, you need to allow time to process and start your assignment. So there again, once you find an assignment and you've got that interview and they offered you the assignment, there's still paperwork involved. You've got to go do drug screens. You've got to make sure your physical's up to date. They might have some other weird requirements for certifications or other paperwork, tests, things like that. So there's going to be a few days built in there where you're going to need to complete some requirements. And then finally, the last one is travel. Are you traveling a couple hours away? There again, you might not be a traveler, but or are you traveling for the across the United States? You're going from East Coast to California or something. So that's going to take a couple days or longer. So there again, if you add all of these up, the timeline really at fastest, if you're a brand new travel nurse with a brand new company, it's going to take a couple weeks for you to get going and get started and to an assignment. I would say if you are not ready to start looking or not ready to start an assignment past 2 months or let's call it 8 to 10 weeks, you can certainly call companies and call recruiters and start that research. But bottom line, these hospitals need someone who can start ASAP. So that sweet spot for you, the nurse, is if someone can start, or if you, the nurse, can start within a week to a month is really the sweet spot there. As promised, I wanted to keep this short and sweet. Question of the day, I want to find out where you, the nurse, have traveled. Whether you're a travel nurse and been to assignments, or whether you've just traveled in general. What are a couple of your favorite states that you want to travel to? Let's get a discussion going on states that you can likely travel in, or states that you cannot maybe travel in so easily. So there are hot states out there, believe it or not. Last thing I'll say, if you found value in this video, share it with a friend. It takes 2 seconds, and make sure you subscribe below so you don't miss our weekly videos. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.